Hey everyone, it's Yuri Kasdorp here from Oracle Red Bull Racing Esports, and today we're gonna have a look at week 4 of the VRS. Next week we'll be at Watkins, Glen, and this time we'll drive the new Mercedes 2020 EVO. It's a very fast car, but it's quite tricky in some spots, so let's have a look how this looks like and what to look out for on this track. Right, here we are starting in the lap, coming up to the second to last corner here. Gonna try to open it last corner up nicely to get a good run. Especially for qualifying it's important. I'm a race fuel myself now. Get the car over to the left and we want to look for the 200 marker and brake around the 200, depends a bit what the temperature will be. Set the car for a good exit here. You want to sacrifice the entry a bit for a good exit. Want to run the car as smooth as possible here to get the most speed. In the chicane you want to keep the speed up and get as close to the inside wall as you possibly can. Keep it tight. Want to wait for the front to bite until we start going on throttle here. Brake towards the inside. Careful to not overload the outside front here. Set up for a good exit. Next right hand we want to use all the exit available. You can run all the way to the grass on the outside here. Want to brake and keep it in third gear for a long time here. I will keep the rear more stable. Second to last corner we can do tiny lift to make it easier. Under right conditions it can be flat as well. Last corner is set up for a good exit in the race lap as well. And that's the lap and the Mercedes GT3. Right, so here we are starting in the lap. You want to run up to turn 1 and you want to be looking at the 200 sign that we use to brake. Depending on the temperatures, it can be quite hot this week, depending on the temperatures, you want to brake just before or just after it. And all you want to do for turn 1 is make sure to brake in a straight line. Apex quite late on the inside there and set up for a good exit. So we brake out at 200, keep long time to the left side here, again have a slow entry so we can maximize the corner exit. You want to get towards the inside here and get your inside wheels close to this edge of the curb. And once you get to this bottom here, like in the bottom of this pit, you want to start going on full throttle and you want to try to carry the car to the outside. And with the Mercedes you'll feel like sometimes on the exit here the rear can get a bit loose if you're a bit too early on the throttle, so you have to be a bit careful with that. Again, what's most important out of this corner is getting a run out of the corner, run all the way up the straight, and then you want to have your right side tires close to the edge of this curb here, which is the limit. And we got the whole run up the hill, nothing too special, you just want to run a short line here, there's no multi-class or anything. So short line, small wheel inputs, that will give you an extra couple hundreds. Then we get to the next important point, the chicane here. You want to start slowing down between the 200 and 300. And try to keep the speed up, and you want to aim your car as close to this wall here as you possibly dare. Just on this curb here again, like we looked at with the Lambo in the 6-hour guide, this curb is highest around this point here. So you want to try to avoid that, you want to get close to the wall as possible. This car, the Mercedes, can handle the curb a lot better than Lambo, so you can be a lot more aggressive on it, and maybe even keep a bit of brake on it if you're coming in a bit hot. Want to get as close to the wall as you can and have your car pointing towards the second curb here already. Some people overdo it a bit on the entry, and what happens then is that in the middle of this corner towards the second apex there, or the third apex, you start understeering a bit wide and start losing exit speed. So what I try to do is try to make sure that I slow down enough before this curb here, the second curb, so that I can keep it tight on the inside here and start going on throttle here. Then we got turn 5. Turn 5 in the Mercedes, you'll struggle a lot in having the front left grip up enough. So what I try to do is lift quite early, even tap the brakes a bit, and then very patient with going back into the power. Once you go back into the power, that weight that we want to have in the front axle starts going to the rear again. So what I try to do is into the corner, lift for quite a long time, and once I feel the front really having the grip, once I know that the front can keep up with the rear going on throttle, I start slowly bringing up the throttle. If you wait long enough with this, and if the front's properly loaded, you can go on throttle with around this exit road. So you see I'm a bit before already, and this full throttle is around this exit road where you can go. But you need a good line for that, and the way you do that again is into the corner. Make sure you lift quite a bit, and maybe even tap the brakes a bit to put that weight on the front end, which is really important in this car. If you don't do that on entry, you're going to ask a lot from this left front, and over a race distance, you'll start losing a lot of speed. And from that access road, you can keep full throttle. You can use this curb to the left all the way on this bit of tarmac here as well. But then try to get it over to the right side quite early. If you get it over to the right side quite early, you can start lining the car up on the right here on the white line, and you can start focusing on the next corner. If you're too late with lining the car up on the right here, for example, you're still coming in from this side, you're going to be focusing on getting the car to this white line at the same time as you're going to be focusing as getting on the brakes and getting towards the next apex. So if you get over to the right side early here, you're just making it a lot easier for yourself. I use this bit of tarmac here as a reference. I brake just before that, I think. And then I try to brake in quite a straight line towards the inside. If you're braking with the car going straight along the white line here, you're going to struggle getting towards that inside because you're going to have to turn too much while on the brakes. So what I like to do is get to the side, turn the car a bit, and then try to brake in quite a straight line towards this apex. You can even go over the curbs here a bit. If you miss it a bit, you're not losing too much time, but the ideal line is getting towards this curb here. On exit, you want to use all the curb. Turn 7 is a very tricky corner again, because in the Mercedes, the outside front often struggles if you overdo the entry tiny bit. So if you go into the corner tiny bit too fast, you're going to start losing a lot of grip on the left front here. So what you want to do is start braking quite early, but not hard. So if you brake quite early but not hard, you can brake all the way till the middle of the corner here and try to put that weight again on that front axle to keep that pressure on the front tires to keep the car rotating. So we try to brake quite early, but not too hard, and the whole time we're going to be braking all the way into the corner and then slowly bringing the throttle up as well, trying to focus for a good exit. You can have a bit of overlap like I had there to try to get the car rotated. You don't have to. Next corner here, I use this bit of tires where the tire marks start on the left as a braking point. I brake just before that. Try to get the car turned into the corner, and then we can use all this exit road here. You can go all the way up to the grass. It's not ideal if you go to the grass too early. Like if you go up to the grass here, you're gonna have to turn too much too late. So you want to use all of this, but not get to the grass too early. Now we get to this next corner, turn 9, and turn 9 I want to take a bit more time because this is the corner where the Mercedes struggles the most. What's going to happen, because the track kind of falls away from you here. So what's going to happen is if you brake for the corner here, shift down to second gear before the corner, you will lose the rear end. So the rear end will start to step out on you. So what you need to do, I found very helpful, is again get over to the right side early and then brake, but you don't shift down. So you wait until you get in the middle of the corner to shift down to second gear. Brake quite early as well, so that you're not braking and turning too much, because that takes away a bit of weight from the rear. To brake quite early, but very important, downshift very late to second gear. That will keep the rear more in check. It can even help if you keep it in third gear throughout the whole corner. I like second gear more personally. It gives a bit more front end bite in the middle of the corner, and I think a bit more torque out of the corner, but third gear, especially on old tires, works quite well as well. So if we go from the onboard cam, we want to bring it over to the right here, then brake, and then very slowly let the car roll in, and only here I shift down to second gear, so almost at the apex already. If you shift down earlier to second gear like we would do here, it's very easy to lose the rear when the track's falling away from you. That's where the Mercedes, especially on older tires, starts to struggle. So taking this corner slow on entry, slow with the downshifts, can gain you a lot of time throughout the race. And then on the exit, we slowly just want to go back into the throttle again. Again, second or third gear. I prefer second gear here. You can keep it in third gear. It keeps the car a bit more stable. And you want to start running all the way to the outside here. Then second to last corner. This corner is quite tricky as well if you turn in too early here. So if you turn in too early, you're coming in from a bit of a shallower angle. You're gonna have to turn too much on the corner exit and you'll feel the rear getting loose on the corner exit. So what you want to do, maybe from the onboard camera you have a bit of a look, is try to use all the track on the right side here and turn in quite late. Because the corner feels a bit wider than it actually is, meaning that if you start turning in earlier, it's gonna end up being tighter than you think it is. And these temperatures, I think you can take it flat, but it's quite on a limit. So doing a tiny lift like I'm doing here, just doing a tiny lift will just make it a tiny bit easier. If you want to lift more, try to lift before you get to the apex and the exit, because normally at the exit you're turning the most, you're going to be asking the most of the tires. So if you lift a tiny bit on the entry, it's going to be more stable on the corner exit. And you can run all the way wide, but if you run all the way wide, it's going to be quite tricky to get a good entry to the last corner. So you can run all the way on this runoff here until the curb, where the curb ends. So if you would want to, you can run all the way here and then run very tight line back to the left side here. It's just quite tricky to get to the left hand side again. And then for the last corner, the Mercedes again, you want to make sure that this left front's loaded. So you want to go in quite fast compared to some other cars and try to slow down quite a long time into this corner here. So you see all the way into the corner here, we're going to be slowing down. And then once we get to the apex, of course you can start building a throttle again, try to carry good speed out of the corner. And for the corner exit here, try to be as close to the wall as you can, while of course taking the corner as fast as you can. If you're going into the middle of the corner here and just turning your car to be close to the wall without being on the limit, you might as well try to keep it a bit tighter. But of course we want to be on the limit and then naturally ending up as close to the wall as we can. Now we just have to run up to the line, and that was a lap around Watkins Glen in the new Mercedes 2020 AMG. So there you go, that was the lap in the new Mercedes AMG 2020 on iRacing for Watkins Glen, week 4 VRS. If you want to try the car, this is a very good combo, it's a very fun combo, and I'm fairly confident that this car will be very competitive as well. So if you want to give the new car a go, this is a very good week to try it. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and see you for the next one.